The CAP started in a good way, I think. They started saying after the Second War we need a lot of food. They gave guaranteed prices to producers for some products, and they had an investment policy to reach the goal of we have enough food for everyone. But at the moment we had enough quantity of food, they didn't change policy. They didn't change policy, and we had those excedents of milk and beef meat. The most organic or the most biodiverse your production is, we give a better price. At that moment, we would have a sustainable agriculture today. But they go the opposite way.
One of the sources of this pressure is agriculture. The ecosystems and species dependent on agriculture are in a poor, generally poor and often declining state.
In my country, farming is quite industrialized. I don't see any impact of the CAP turning farming into more sustainable, more biodiversity supporting practices.
I think the CAP, the greening, has the potential to make a real difference. I think, again, the biggest problem for me is that for farmers to adopt these measures, to explore the opportunities to enjoy some additional income from pursuing a greener farming system, it's such a complicated process for people.
We should really start asking whether this policy is efficient, whether it's relevant, how effective it is, what's the added value of this policy, and what's its coherence also with environmental policy.
I decided to go the organic way, and in that time there was no certification. We did organize our own control, but we were a few of, I think, about 200 people starting in the 80s to go into organic farming just because we wanted to produce good food. What we saw during the 30 years we do is that where diseases were a problem in the beginning, they aren't anymore. Just because of the biodiversity, we build it up without using products who goes against that biodiversity. So I cannot say for others, but I can say for my farm that where we had some diseases in the beginning, we have maybe 20% of the diseases we had today just because of that change in biodiversity. When you work the organic way, the things you have to do is to look at what's happening in nature. We cannot use products to control, for instance, pest diseases. We cannot use products to do some weed control. So we have to look at what's possible within the natural environment. And that makes a big difference. The most normal way to do is that we should have, of course, some natural reserves, but that some parts of the natural reserves should be used by agriculture, but in a way that we preserve nature.
There is a big difference between farms that work to some extent in harmony with the environment and farms that impose themselves on the environment. So we have to move away or back to a system that actually sits in harmony with our environment if we want to deliver real sustainability and we want to deliver real value. And this is a lot of what I focus on now in the farm businesses I run and in my other work with free-range dairy, is trying to promote the value of our output over the volume.
Und ein anderes Modell, was mir sehr am Herzen liegt, wäre ein Bonus-Malus-System. Sie könnten ökologische Vorrangflächen anlegen, die länger als 5 Jahre dauern, mit dem Hinweis, wenn die Fläche qualitativ günstiger wird oder auch älter wird, dass sie für die Bevölkerung und für die Umwelt wertvoller wird und dadurch bekommt der Landwirt nach der ersten Periode mehr bezahlt, einen Bonus. Auch der Landwirt hätte nicht nur eine Motivation vom Finanziellen her, sondern er hätte auch eine Motivation von dem her, dass er sagt, das ist mir jetzt gelungen, ich bekomme mehr Geld, ich bin sehr vorsichtig mit der Fläche. Die Fläche würde auch für den Landwirt an Wert gewinnen als Vorrangfläche.
When you have good examples of organic farming, then you will have people who will go into organic farming, because farming it's a nice job. It's a nice job, so it is profitable to run an organic farm today. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be here. You have to pay more salaries, but you have to pay less for all those pesticides and herbicides. At the same time, here we sell almost directly to the consumers, and so we have also a much better price than in conventional agriculture. So I think that most of my colleagues who started to go into organic farming or did the reconversion to organic farming have a better income than if they stayed in conventional farming.